One of the more advanced teachings of Buddha, or at least one of the more complicated one, is called the Heart Sutra. The If you look at the text and look at the sutra itself, there is very little to do with the physical heart or love or compassion. So I imagine, because this is not a title, I don't believe, given by Buddha himself, it's a title given later. I imagine that this stands for the heart of sutras rather than Heart Sutra. So it's more like the core of Buddha's teachings. There are quite a few versions and translations from Sanskrit and Pali available online and in YouTube, and they're all very good, except in many cases I find that the translation has been done rather literally rather than the actual meaning that I believe Buddha meant implied in his discourse. And most of it has to do with the first line itself, which has to do with the form. The literal translation turns out to be emptiness is form and form is emptiness. This, I believe, is an incorrect translation of the word used in the Sanskrit language called rupa. Rupa is still, or rupa, is still used quite widely in Sanskrit and Hindi, and it doesn't quite stand for form. It has many meanings, and now in the old days, and most Sanskrit scholars, in fact many of language scholars, like to play with words, and Sanskrit itself didn't have that many words, so rupa stood for many words, and this particular sutra plays with the meaning of word rupa in many different ways. So unless you pay full attention to it, you could be misled or slightly misled. The meaning still can be grasped by saying form is emptiness or emptiness is form. But in fact, what I believe he meant was that rup, which actually can stand for the face. So when you say someone's rup is good or beautiful, it could stand for the face. Face of a person or face of a thing is beautiful or not so beautiful. So Buddha is talking about the rupa of emptiness or shunya. Shunya is, again, emptiness is kind of a literal translation. Shunya actually stands for zero. So, and shunyata would be zero-ness, or you could say shunyata would mean emptiness. But what he's saying is that when you look at the face of zero, and now how do you look at the face of zero? If you follow some of his instructions in meditation and withdrawing internally, getting away, in yoga terms would be pratyahara, or getting away from the senses, draw, withdraw, 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 until you reach a point that there is nothing there. And as zero. And when you look at the face of the zero, he essentially asks you to describe that face of zero, or face of that nothingness. Even nothingness doesn't quite capture it, but what he doesn't actually say what that face of empty or zero is. He just says, look at that face of zero and now compare with the face of other things, which are the forms. Here Rup stands for forms or objects. And he says, when you compare the face of zero, which you achieve through meditation, and face of other things, other 5 skandhas or 5 aggregates, such as the body, the feeling, perception, mind, consciousness. when you compare the face of all the other things and compare that to the face of zero, you find no difference. And that's the essence of the Heart Sutra, i.e. the face of zero, which some would classify or say it's emptiness. He doesn't say that. He says the face of zero is the same as the face of all forms. Now he goes on to say now he uses the word emptiness. So he says the emptiness of zero. Doesn't say exactly what zero is, but he says the emptiness of zero is exactly the same as the emptiness of all things, all five aggregates, the body, the feeling, mind, perception, consciousness, all of it have the same emptiness quality as the emptiness of zero. I felt this is an important distinction to keep, and it, at least to me, made more sense. If you want more on this, I have a blog, if you'd like to go and check it, on deadenduphere.com. Although this is all I wanted to say.